So with the rise of smartphones and technology, the desire and perhaps the demand to have a watch that has an incredibly accurate movement is no longer as necessary as it once was. But if you're a watch enthusiast, someone like myself, and if you're watching this video, that's probably is you in terms of that classification, you probably still want an accurate movement inside your watch. So in this video, we're gonna be looking at watches with accurate movements between the price range of a few $100s to a couple $1,000s. Let's get into it. All right guys, so a few ground rules before we begin. I'm going to be looking at mechanical movements primarily, with one exception of a quartz movement because I thought it was a little bit noteworthy. And for kind of a baseline, I understand cost certification. There's other certifications out there. There's certifications in levels of, in terms of quality, that brands themselves internally are delivering with their movements. I mean, look at high horology with Patek Philippe. They don't send their movements into COSC, or brands even like a Zinn, for example, hearing that they're using top grade movements. They're testing them at multiple positions and getting really chronometer grade level of performance out of the movements that they're going ahead and working on and actually sending out with their watches. But I'm going to be using mostly cost certified movements here as kind of that baseline understanding of accuracy as they went through the same testing standards, and I think it's a good foundation for the video. If you guys want more information in terms of what is involved in the testing, I'll have a link in the description that goes into more detail about that if you want to nerd out and learn a little bit more. All right guys, so I'll just get the quartz watch out of the way because I do think it is a pretty compelling offering for the price range in which it occupies. I don't think it's a perfect watch, especially for most of the people probably watching this video considering its size, but I think very interesting, and that is the Seiko Dulce. With this particular reference being the SAC M171. So this is a JDM model. We're getting a price of $450 and case size 33.5 millimeters, case thickness, an impressive 5.3 millimeters. There's an upside of quartz right there, and a lug-to-lug of 41 millimeters. But outside of this nice clean design of this watch, what really makes it compelling in my mind is the caliber 8J41 inside here. So these are highly accurate quartz movements that are testing between -10 to +10 seconds per year. So you're getting incredible accuracy out of these movements. And actually what's really cool about this is these were the movements that were used in Grand Seikos until the 9Fs were kind of brought in to the whole Grand Seiko lineup of watches. So you are getting something at $450 I think is rather compelling. If you're going to buy it in the United States or somewhere else throughout the world outside of Japan, you're gonna have to find through an independent seller. But just a watch I think certainly to be aware of. If you're all about accuracy, you have a smaller wrist, or maybe just like the traditional wear of smaller watches, a great watch to take a look at. Okay, so now for the next lump of watches here, we're gonna be looking at the Swatch Group. And I think Swatch Group, I'm gonna be mentioning them quite a bit throughout this video, as I think they've almost monopolized just the, for one, the movement market, owning ETA, ETA, Valjoux, having a lot of just infrastructure in place to create great movements and utilize movements, and are also third-party selling them to other manufacturers, but also are producing some of the most, the highest amount of chronometers amongst all their brands. So in this kind of mid-level tier under $1,000, which they really have a stranglehold on, you have a few different brands you can go for. You can go for Tissot, Certina has a lot of watches as well, Mido, and also Longines in a little bit higher price tier. But with Certina mostly offering up the chronometer certified movements with quartz watches, I wanted to look at mostly Tissot and Mido here. And first, starting with Tissot, we have the PR100 chronometer. So this watch now has been kind of circulating quite a bit with different sellers online. So the price range is gonna range between $400 and $950. Case size 39 millimeters, case thickness of 11 millimeters, and a lug-to-lug, very wearable 44 millimeters. Inside we have the automatic Powermatic 80. We have water resistance of 100 meters and a sapphire crystal. So kind of an interesting design here, 6 o'clock Cyclops date window, baton style hands, and a chronometer grade movement inside. So this is an ETA based caliber, modified at interesting 21,600 vibrations per hour. You're also getting an elongated mainspring inside the watch, which is really how they're able to achieve that 80-hour power reserve. And when I did a review of the Mido Ocean Star recently, that was kind of a main talking point, and how they're able to kind of work around and highly modify these ETA bases to get optimal performance of 80 hours for the power reserve. And they offer a chronometer and a non-chronometer version, but really, if you can get at that lower price tier in that range, I mean, we're talking an awesome deal for a Swiss chronometer. But say you have a little bit more money to spend, you want something maybe a little bit I'd say a little dressier, but still has the appropriateness to be an everyday watch. We can look at the Tissot Ballade. So these watches range between $650 to $950. You have multiple different case options available, or dial variations, I should say. Case size of 41 millimeters, case thickness of 9.8 millimeters, lug to lug of a very wearable 46 millimeters, and also contain that Powermatic 80 inside. 80-hour power reserve again, but the really cool thing as well with this watch is you're also getting a silicone balance spring. So this is offered in different watches amongst the Swatch catalog, but it's really gonna help with the insensitivity to magnetic fields, temperature variations, and just giving a more versatile and robust movement. And despite this dressier watch kind of look, you have that fine finished bezel, centered dial, and raised minute and hour track that has that kind of smooth finish. It's going to be a very wearable watch given its case proportions, especially across the wrist, and really should be a considered great everyday choice for those looking for a Swiss-made watch. So as I just mentioned, I did a full review of the Mido Ocean Star Heritage a little while back. I went over to Spain and did a review. It's kind of fun. If you guys have not seen that video, definitely recommend it. And why I mentioned that, because when you're looking at just chronometer grade movements and offering really good value, I think Mido is right there at the front of the pack. And I mean, they're right there in general, just behind the brands like Rolex, Omega, Breitling, in terms of producing the most chronometers out there. The Ocean Star line delivers a lot of great value in general with the chronometer movements, but also you have titanium options, ceramic bezels, and then you also have really cool heritage designs. But another watch amongst Mido's catalog that just delivers a lot of great value is the Mido Baroncelli series. And for a dress watch around $1,000, it's gotta be a leading contender. And that's gonna be the watch we're gonna be looking at today. This particular chronometer version is gonna range between $900 and $1,200. Case size of 40 millimeters. You also have a 39 millimeter option if you wanna go for the heritage model. Case thickness, 9.4 millimeters, lug to lug of 46 millimeters. And this also has an automatic Powermatic 80 movement, 80-hour power reserve, and you're also getting that silicone hairspring within, but just really clean, well-constructed, and I think criminally underrated. Now next up, I wanna look at a few independents or smaller brands that are also producing chronometer grade movements or very accurate movements. But before we do that, big thank you and shout out to our sponsor, Skillshare. So Skillshare is an online learning community with more than 30,000 online classes in design, photography, business, and pretty much anything else you can think of. So I've really been trying to up my game in terms of product video and product photography. I think maybe you can notice it in terms like the Vacheron review that I just did, maybe the Tudor Black Bay and Pelagos reviews that I did, and also looking at the photos that I posted on my Instagram. Follow me on Instagram if you're not following me. And I think a lot of this comes down to taking full advantage of Skillshare's premium access. A couple of my favorites being their product photography. So it's the style and edit for stronger image course, and also Instagram-worthy photography, shoot, edit, and share. So really have helped me in terms of just maximizing my lighting setup, getting some really cool wrist shots and things of that nature, and helping with my review setup. And for sponsoring this video, Skillshare is also giving away a free 2-month unlimited access trial to any subscribers watching this. So if you want to give Skillshare a shot, click that link in the description, and honestly, try it out. It's only $10 a month to keep it going after that free trial. And by doing that, you're joining 7 million other creators that are learning through Skillshare. So if you want to give it a shot, hit that link in the description, and thank you again to them for sponsoring this video. All right, so back to the subject at hand with the watches, looking at two, probably not micro brands anymore, because I think they're more independents now, especially one of them being Christopher Ward and the other being Formex. So Formex is a brand based in Switzerland, producing cost-certified movements, really optimizing Solida-based calibers. And the watch we're looking at here is the Formex Essence. The watches themselves, really clean, everyday watches, coming in with a price of $1,160 for the cost-certified versions. Case size, 43 millimeters, thickness of 10 millimeters, lug to lug of 49 millimeters, and again, utilizing that automatic Solida SW201 inside, and has water resistance of 100 meters. Formex, founded and based in Switzerland back in 1999, produced, I think really well-constructed watches for the price in this kind of independent and micro brand tier, for lack of a better term. But the other brand, founded in 2004, that we'll be discussing here, Christopher Ward, really interesting model, just kind of being just a digitally first watch brand, and honestly making some more compelling, value-driven offerings out there. And now cost-certified movements, really accurate movements, and in-house movements. And Christopher Ward does offer the kind of more limited edition runs, and in the past have offered different chronometer grade movements within a few of their different lines. So their Trident series has featured a couple of chronometer grade movements. But when looking at their current offering, the C1 Morgan 3-wheeler in Classic is the model we're gonna be looking at today, with a price of $1,590. Case case size of 40.5 millimeters, case thickness of 11.65 millimeters, and a lug-to-lug of 48.5 millimeters. In regards to the actual movement itself, it's an automatic SH21. So Christopher Ward back in 2014 actually formed and merged with a Swiss provider of movements, and in doing so, you can basically classify it now as an in-house caliber, and now are producing these in their own watches. But this isn't a quick crash grab because they're really incredible movements, and in terms of what they're outputting here, with 120-hour power reserve within this, you're also getting a really kind of cool looking movement. You have a black PVD skeletonized bridge, but I think to me that 120-hour power reserve, 5-day power reserve, I mean, you could literally take this thing off on Sunday, pick it up at the end of the week for Friday afternoon to get going for the next weekend, and you'll be good to go. Pretty crazy, honestly. But I think just in general, Christopher Ward as a company as a whole has done some pretty impressive things in a very short period of time. So when thinking of watchmaking and accuracy, I think another industry that kind of walks right in line with that is the railway industry. And now we're gonna be looking at Ball Watches, a company that was founded in 1891 in Cleveland, Ohio, as basically a result of a train crash that happened in Kipton, Ohio, when two trains collided head on. And it was basically a result of conductors not having good timekeeping devices for use, and it really caused the collision. So then founder Webb C. Ball really took a new standard and set a new standard for really highly accurate movements that would be put into place and used by conductors. And there, Ball Watches was born. Now moving away from Cleveland, now in Switzerland, but still keeping alive that train and railway kind of roots with the watches and the movements that they're providing within them. And the watch here we're looking at is the Ball Trainmaster Standard Time Chrono. The price here we're looking at $1,600 to around $1,800. Case size 40 millimeters, thickness of 10.3 millimeters, lug-to-lug of 47 millimeters, and an automatic Ball RR1105C. So that is a modified ETA 28922 chronometer grade movement here. So taking that top grade ETA and really maximizing it for optimal performance here. And really the awesome thing about this watch, I think it just screams that old vintage kind of railway watch with its classic Arabic numerals. It has that cool sub-seconds, and also its tritium tubed hands. I think it just does scream old school railway, and I think Ball is another brand in terms of this range between $1,000 and $2,000, producing a lot of good value. But speaking of the common theme of heritage, and now also a little bit earlier where I was talking about the Swatch Group, we now revisit Longines with the Longines Record. So these watches have a few different case sizes to choose from. Looking at the price ranges, mostly between $1,800 and around $2,000, give or take. Case size 40 millimeters. You also have a 38 millimeter option. Lug to lug between 45 and 46 millimeters. Movement is an automatic L884. So this is a modified ETA 2892A2. This particular modified version is exclusive for Longines and is beating at a really interesting 25,200 vibrations per hour, a 64-hour power reserve, and again is a cost certified movement. For the watches overall, you have a few different options again with this how the watch is going to be displayed on the dial. Really kind of just clean looking hand layout, as well as Roman numeral options or standard numeral options. And when looking at Longines, say in the last like 5 to 10 years, I think the Heritage collection has really been a big bestseller in terms of like the watch community. But I think these watches, as well as like the Conquest series, do a really good job in saying that the watch and showing that the brand itself is a lot more than just that Heritage line, as these are, I think, some really good looking watches, and you're getting some great calibers within. So guys, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, as by doing that, with every single like, subscribe, and bell icon hit, one Daniel Wellington watch is destroyed. Don't ask me how that happens, it just happens. Don't ask questions. Also, I hope that this is a good jumping off point for furthering your research. What other watches do you think should be mentioned in a list of this nature? And a quick question, quick question, that's hard to say. Anyway, do you think brands in general are transparent enough and provide enough information about their movements? And for me, I always have to do extra digging, and it's hard and kind of difficult. You have to kind of go through different manuals and things of that nature from the brands to really understand what is really being provided by a lot of the brands. So that's just something I see very frequently. I'd like to see more level of transparency and information, also on just how the movements are tested. But what do you guys think? I'd love to see comments down below on who does it well and who doesn't do it well. Also guys, if you're in the market for a new watch, you're in the market for some watch straps, TeddyBaldassarre.com is a great place to go, as well as to our link in the description to our friends over at Bob's Watches. Using that link helps support us in keeping the channel going. Also, I just announced a couple winners in our latest giveaway. If you guys want an opportunity to win in future giveaways, Stay tuned. Follow me on Instagram for Instagram exclusive giveaways and also an upcoming YouTube exclusive giveaway. So make sure you're hitting that bell icon because that's going to be YouTube exclusive only. I've heard many people say, why don't you do more things for your YouTube audience exclusively? What's up with all this Instagram crap? I don't want to sign up for an Instagram. Okay, I've answered the call here, and there's going to be one coming very soon. So stay up to date. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.